On this day, April 13th, 2024, I collected my Porsche Boxster 986, and after 1 year of ownership, this is my full review on the car. The fact that a year has passed since I bought this car is absolutely insane to me, and a year has brought so much in my life that's different, but I'm not going to get onto that. Let's just keep with the car for now. 10,000 miles, 1 year of ownership, and what has actually happened to the car, and is it a car that realistically you should put your money in? And I'm going to just finish this here. Yes, I would absolutely recommend one of these cars to anyone that wants one. This car has been up to the Peak District for me. This car has driven around all of my 2 home counties in the United Kingdom, and also has gone on many mini adventures to go and look at, buy cars with my friends, to go on mini road trips in the middle of summer when I was allowed to drive my car again after I broke my hand. And this car has done it all flawlessly without ever breaking down in my ownership. That is a complete and utter surprise compared to what everyone says about these cars. So if you're interested, the market of the Boxster tends to range between £3,000 to £10,000. Now the cheapest end of the spectrum usually is the 2.7 or the 2.5 automatics, or just not very well looked after 2.5 or 2.7 cars, and they're usually a little bit less. £3,000 will get you into a drivable car that needs a little bit of work. £5,000 will probably get you into a nice sorted one, whereas anything more than £5,000 will probably get you into a decent 3.2 or a very high spec 2.7, or like mine, a 2.5 with the Aero kit. The last Aero kit that sold was in yellow, that was modified and went for £8,000. So people think the market on these are completely dead, but they are starting to be appreciated and they are starting to be loved a bit. The first problem most people have sits right under the roof, and that is its IMS bearing. And that is something that is on the 996 and on the 2.7, 3.2 and the later iterations of the Boxster as well. But it is nowhere near as bad as people say. They have changed it just for peace of mind rather than failure points. And in fact, mine, when I did its last service, had no gold particles in the oil or the oil filter, which means that the dual row bearing on this car is absolutely golden and will last another probably 85,000 miles, which is currently what the car is almost on. That's not to say I haven't faced issues. Like, this car has had a couple of things that has not really been talked about as much, but is somewhat talked about. The fact that the drip trays under the roof have leaked, and that also causes the interior to get soaked. I completely and utterly gutted the interior not long ago, and also refitted brand new different drip trays that have no rips, no tears, to make sure that that does not happen. And since then, the car has been completely and utterly watertight. It is perfect in there. The other is the AOS, the air oil separator, which is part of the exhaust gas recirculation system. This does fail over time. It gets clogged, and on a lot of cars that have EVAP systems, yeah, that can get clogged and does end up making the car drink a little bit of oil, which does happen on these cars. It did on mine, and it can make a massive plume of smoke come out of the back of your car, which makes you think your engine has grenaded with piston rings just gone. But no, it is a simple £100 part that sits right in here and is changed within half a day. I also opted to change the tyres to some Michelin Pilot Sport 4s because the old ones were getting on a little bit and also were just simply, well, flat. I did suffer an issue with the roof not that long ago, where if you had put the roof up on here, it would just not latch properly and the windows would drop down to about half height. That has since been rectified with a new switch up here with some new micro switches, and now the roof will stay closed and the windows will stay shut too. I'm not going to demonstrate that because it is a beautiful, lovely British spring day and I want to go and drive it with the top off. Right. To drive, these cars are absolutely lovely. They are a little bit heavier in the steering and a little bit heavier in the clutch than you would normally expect from a normal car. But obviously, this is not a normal car. This is a sports convertible mid-engine car. So realistically, you should be expecting those kind of things. Once you get used to the clutch and once you get used to steering, it's absolutely beautiful and it's so nice in its feedback. If you were to use your Boxster every single day like I do, yes, you might find the clutch a little bit annoying and a little bit heavy in traffic, but it's nowhere near as bad as you would actually expect. It's performed beautifully. It handles traffic really well. It doesn't overheat. It's not rattly. It's not uncomfortable. The suspension is not set up in a way that you're only going to enjoy it when you're hurtling down back roads that are 60s, but let's be honest, you're not doing 60 miles an hour, are you? And if you want to go for a cruise, like I am right now, with the roof off, but the windows up, the cabin is nice and quiet, you can still have a conversation, you can still feel a bit of the wind in your hair, but it is a lot quieter and a lot nicer than you would expect. I used to do this a lot in my old Mazda MX-5, and the windows, if you had them up without the roof off, used to rattle and shake in the doors themselves. On these cars, no such issue. These are built properly and feel like a quality item. And I get a lot of people complaining about the old interior that these cars have because, oh, from this era of Porsche, it's plasticky, it's not that nice. The interior on some, like the very, very basic ones, can be not as nice as you would want. But when you go up to a car like this that has actually had some options spec'd out and does have a leather pack or full leather pack, it's a beautiful interior. And when you've got one that's got, like I do, a painted center console, it's glorious. But then the best bit comes here, when you hit a national speed limit. And you can just let that engine sing. It sings in an absolutely marvelous tone that you do not get for anything else in the price range of a Porsche Boxster. I will argue flat out until my dying days, you cannot get a better sounding car for the money. Given all that I have now said about that beautiful little car back there, you would expect that I believe that that is the perfect car for every single person and is nothing better on the road. No. See, whilst I love the Porsche Boxster and I love that car to bits, the car does have its flaws. Of course, anything that goes wrong that is major is going to cost you an arm and a leg. Insurance, whilst being 20 years old and managing to insure one of those for less than £2,000 is quite good, it really depends on your job and your area. And if they are cheap for me, that's not going to say that it's not cheap for you. Practicality is another. You can get a lot in that car as long as what you're getting in is very small and not very wide or very long. One boot is very wide but not deep, and the other boot is the complete opposite. The other problem, age. They came out in 1996 or 1997. Is nearly 30 years old, and those cars have gotten cheap, meaning people can go and buy those and have bought those and have not looked after them. There are cars that are very, very, very behind on maintenance that they desperately need. And there's cars that just generally, due to the age and due to the miles, they wear out. And a lot of those components, if you're going to do a suspension refresh, is £2,000. You're going to do a clutch, you're looking at £2,000. There is a lot to say about a car that has been looked after, like mine, for example, as opposed to the cheapest that you can buy on Facebook Marketplace that has a few electrical issues and a slight coolant leak and electrical drain. Then again, those negatives are pretty much the same with any old car of its age. They wear, they get old, and the parts need replacing, and they get cheap, so people defer the maintenance. That happens. After 10,000 miles and 1 year of ownership of this Porsche Boxster, my general opinion comes to this. It is a fantastic sports car that does have flaws that you will always come across and will annoy you in one aspect or another when you end up needing that one thing it can't do. But that's every sports car. That's every car at the end of the day. But if we were to think of those flaws as something else to determine why we don't buy something, then we wouldn't buy anything. Nothing in this world is completely and utterly perfect. If you for this summer are finally biting the bullet and you are going to buy that small two-seater fun roadster, you kind of found it.